Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox. I'm the Compliance Evangelist, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 368 of the FCPA Compliance Report. Today I have with me Damon Brenner. Damon is with Control Risk, and he talks about the 2018 RiskMap put out by Control Risk. This is an introduction to a presentation that Control Risk is making this coming Thursday to the Greater Houston Business and Ethics Roundtable of a full discussion of the 2018 RiskMap. Jonathan Wood will be traveling to Houston. If you are in Houston, I hope that you can join us for this meeting. It will be from 8 to 10 a.m. at Marathon Oil, 5555 San Felipe here in Houston. You can find out more information at the GHBER website, the Greater Houston Business and Ethics Roundtable, GHBER.org. That's GHBER.org. Go to events. In today's podcast, Damon, a partner at Control Risk, describes what the the RiskMap takes a look at, how it's created, and how it can be used by both people accessing the site and in a consulting capacity for those who work with control risks. It's a fascinating teaser on what you will learn at the GHBER meeting. I hope you will join us Thursday. This is Tom Fox. The FCPA Compliance Report is a part of the Compliance Podcast Network. Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox, back again for another episode of the Compliance Report. Today I have with me Damon Brenner. Damon is a partner at Control Risks. And if you weren't aware of it, Control Risk puts out a frankly incredible resource each year called the RiskMap. And so I asked Damon if he might be able to come onto the podcast and just really describe what it is, and then how that really lends itself to the type of work Control Risks does. So with that, and Damon is recovering from the flu, so if he coughs or sneezes, please forgive us both. But he's quite eager to talk about it, and I'm quite eager to hear about it, and I'm sure you are to listen to it. So, Damon, with that somewhat long-winded introduction, thank you so much for taking the time to visit with me today.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that, and thank you for the caveat. I am getting over the flu, but hopefully we can carry on with the podcast. So as Tom suggested, I'm a partner with Control Risk based here in Houston, and RiskMap is our flagship publication. And also our annual forecast that we provide to our clients that looks at both everything from political, security, operational, integrity risks that we believe are going to be our clients are going to be facing in the upcoming year. And we put it out every year, usually around January, and generally that's going to help set the types of consulting and analysis, and ideally the questions we're going to get from our clients for the coming year.
So, Damon. First of all, once again, congratulations. I think this is certainly one of the definitive forecasts of political and security risks that's put out to literally the public as you guys make this available. One of the things that struck me in reading through the reports this weekend was that it's both quantitative and qualitative, meaning you certainly back up your text with data, information, and statistics, but it's not just there forcing someone to make their own conclusions. That's certainly possible to do, but you guys actually will give your opinions about where things might going to help the appropriate risk manager in a company, whether that be a chief compliance officer, whether it be a chief risk officer, or a CEO, understand the risks they may face in different geographic areas. Would that be a fair statement?
Absolutely. And, one of the things that we try to do, so a couple things. So, that's why clients pay us, ideally for our information, and we make sure that we provide that to them. And that's our expertise. And something I think that sets us apart to some degree and why the RiskMap is powerful is that we're not just writing this, our analysts and our consultants are not just providing this information from our headquarters in London, but we're actually on the ground in these jurisdictions with our clients operating in these environments. So I think that the information we provide, whether it's quantitative or qualitative, is very tactical, while at the same time high level enough for our clients to be able to appreciate, understand how to operate within these jurisdictions.
So you tie this literally bounty of data, statistics, and text together with a visualization of it in the form of a map. I was wondering if you could describe that for us.
Absolutely. So the map we've been producing for over 20 years, to our knowledge. It's the longest running map of its kind that looks at political and security risks. And within the map, we have 5 primary categories, regardless of what risk it is, from insignificant to extreme. It's all color coded, and it's not necessarily country specific either. So if we're looking at Afghanistan, if we're looking at Mexico, we'll go ahead and actually change the color of the map, and thus the risk, based on the actual region of those countries, not country specific. We realize that clients operating in Mexico, for example, in southern Mexico, are going to have a far different risk profile than if they're operating in northern Mexico.
So, can you describe then how control risks would use this map or these series of maps, coupled with the information in the white papers, to help do the services that you guys provide?
Absolutely. So, we have actually several different risk maps. One of which, the kind of overarching one, is going to look at all the various risks that we have that we take into account, our clients can take into account. And from there, we actually go ahead and provide individual maps as well, looking at the specific risk categories I mentioned earlier, i.e. political, security, operational, terrorism, compliance, and so forth. But ideally, this map is going to give a representation for our clients when they start looking at, okay, where are we looking to invest? Where do we have operations? Where do we want to continue operations? What are our risks? What are our concerns? They can look at this and say, okay, based on what we're seeing, these are clearly the risks that other companies that are seeing. That's what Controllers is suggesting. Okay, now let's take a look at our risk profile and determine how are we going to mitigate this, and whether we go to Control Risk or other firms like them, to go to our partners and say, okay, how can we best mitigate the risk that you foresee in the coming year based on what we're seeing on this map? And all the text that goes within that, of course, backs all that up. So we have, again, the content and the context to go with the actual visual map.
So it's really beyond simply obtaining the information and presenting it to a client. It's actually helping them understand specific remediation or I should say mitigation steps they could take.
Absolutely. So it's a living, breathing document, and the analysis that we provide in addition to RiskMap. And if you were to go to Control's website, where you have the RiskMap, you have a lot of various articles and links associated with that, back all that information up. And I think to your point earlier, Tom, well, you can see some of the forecasts that we provide based on the risks that we're providing that you can see via the map.
Well, Damon, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking the time to visit with us. This is a fabulous resource that you certainly put out to my community, the anti-corruption compliance community. Of course, it's available to the general public on the Control Risk website, which we'll link to in the show notes. But before you go to the next coughing fit, I want to thank you and wish you well and look forward to continuing the conversation.
Thank you, Tom. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox again. I'd like to thank you again for listening to this episode of the FCPA Compliance Report. If you're going to be in Houston this coming Thursday on January 25th, I hope you will join us for the January meeting of the Greater Houston Business and Ethics Roundtable, where Jonathan Wood will discuss more in depth the 2018 Control Risk Map. You can find out more information by going to GHBER.org. That's Gerber.org. I hope you will join me again for another episode of the FCPA Compliance Report. The FCPA Compliance Report is a part of the Compliance Podcast Network.